Welcome to the Stree Shakti Series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is From Biases to Breakthroughs Inside the Mind of a Financial Behavior Scientist. We have with us Sagneet Kaur, Senior Vice President, Behavior, Finance and Consumer Insights at PGIM India. With a decade long journey decoding the intersection of human behavior and finance, Sagneet has been transforming the way institutions and individuals approach money decisions. From building psychometric tools to designing data driven nudges that reduce financial anxiety, her work champions financial inclusion, wellness, and mindful decision making. Join us as we delve into the stories behind her impactful work, her journey as a behavioral scientist, and the personal anchors that keep her grounded. So, welcome, Sagneet, to today's coffee conversation.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you so much for the nice introduction and thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, let me explain you. There are three rounds: professional journey, personal journey, and a surprise rapid fire where you will be in the hot seat and you have to language and your inspiration, niche marketing
Oh,
from riches to
nice.
riches. Yeah,
Very
so it will be
nice.
autographed and sent to you by me, autographed by me.
Nice.
Okay. Friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and a legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So my first question, Sagneet, how was the journey shaped up and what are the key defining moments?
The journey has been great. I never thought of having this sort of a flow of my journey. I came from an academia, did my PhD, and then taught in a university for a couple of years, did my JRF, NET, and had a dream of being assistant professor long back. And I used to say my ultimate goal is to become a professor in a university, but though I landed in the complete corporate structure now, and it's been like more than 12 years specifically in the corporate world and couple of years in academia. So the journey has been fantastic. From academia till here, it's more challenging, it's more impact driven, it's more I would say I'm enjoying my journey.
Wow, beautiful. So as I introduced you, your title says financial behavior scientist. Isn't one we hear every day? How would you define what you do and why did you select this title, financial behavior scientist?
The selection is very simple. I think we talk about behavioral scientist. Here I'm talking about financial behavior. That is why financial behavior scientist, to be very simple. So what I do is basically I study how people feel, how they think, and how they act when it comes to money. And
Mhm.
I try to decode these aspects and then use my understanding and my insights of from the decoding exercise into curating tools, products, solutions, nudges, or interventions for investors, for advisors, for people to take healthier financial decisions. That's my way. So I try understanding why people are behaving the way they do in money. Why are they, for example, checking their bank balances more often, why there is a delay in insurance, or why they are not planning for long-term goals like retirement, etc. So what are the reasons behind it? And it's all about, to me, finance is not just about numbers, not just the cash flows, kitna income aa raha hai, kitna income ja raha hai. Every single episode, whether you're earning, you're spending, you are doing anything in relation to money, is is binded by a behavior, a science, an emotion, empathy, relationships. So I try to bring everything together when I think about money.
Wow. So certainly there is a book, Psychology of Money. Uh,
Mm.
have you read that book? And your role is what I've gone to the book. So can you share some insights from that book?
fantastic books which I read, which I always recommend to the behavioral scientists or people who are trying to understand financial behavior is Nudge, or I would say Thinking Fast and Slow. Or there's another book which is a little book on behavioral investing. And all these books in a crux, and even psychology of mind, they basically talk about in a crux when when they try explaining human behavior. They say that human behavior when it comes to money is not rational. It is
Hmm.
always backed by your emotions. It is always backed by your subconscious biases. And these biases basically run as the dictator in any particular situation. So there are two minds to it. One is your system one and system two. So system one is basically which is backed by, which has an army of behavioral biases, and they are always at default. Okay, if something comes in relation to taking money decisions, so they will come as a battalion of biases or battalion of heuristics saying that I will come and help you, but they are not often correct. They tend to uh, lead you towards wrong money decisions. Vis-a-vis system two is very deliberate, thoughtful, resourceful, slow in nature, and want you to think more, research more, plan wisely, and then take small steps to achieve a particular a particular goal per se. So I always suggest that you have to make your system to active. And I'll take an example of a very, very simple example to explain this system one and system two to you. So system one is, for example, if I if an alarm, fire alarm starts right now, we are sitting in a meeting and in a conversation, and alarm starts. What will I do, or what will you do?
Run.
You will run.
Pack my things.
Right.
Yeah, pack my
You
things
will not
and
do the cost and balance analysis of क्यों बजा कैसे मैं बच सकता हूँ and all that. You will be running from the place. And if you are at home, you will be just trying to pack as much as possible and take your family out of. That is system one. That is these are your heuristics or instincts. But if I change the scenario and if I say, okay, you have to invest in something, then your system one will say, okay, invest in something which your friend is doing. That's very simple. This is a heuristic. This is a herding behavior. You see, you go and invest because your friend is doing that. Your papa has suggested something. However,
hmm.
that solutioning requires your system two to come into picture. Research, see fund fact sheets, consult professionals, and then take a proper calculated decision for your investments. So all these behavioral science books or behavioral finance books, they come actually, I think, if you talk about insights, they come and say that your decisions related to money are not rational, so make them emotional, but try to put a logic to it, a calculated logic to it, to achieve your goals.
Wow, beautiful. So, coming to our culturally diverse country like India, how does the experience regarding to human psychology shape financial decisions? As we are Indians, as you know, okay, we are more emotions. With the festivals coming in, so many things, child education, so on. So, how does the psychology will come into play?
I think it's our decision making, specifically talking about India and culturally everywhere, not specific to India, everywhere. As I said, human decisions related to money are emotional. In India, it's very deeply cultured, family, norms, language, etc. They actually pay a lot of toll into your decision making, and toll in a not a negative sense, in a positive sense as well. So it's very personal. It's very personal, it's very emotional, it's social, sometimes it's generational also. So human, specifically talking about Indians, decision making is very, very cultural driven. I'll give you an example of we have been talking about equities, we have been talking about markets going up and down, silver and gold. We say invest in gold, invest in silver. But for Indians, you know easily, it's not an asset. शादियों में गोल्ड जा रहा है, it's a tradition, it's trust, it's security. That's the kind of relationship we Indians have. Maybe something sitting in China might not be having it. Maybe something sitting in America might not be having it. So we are very culturally driven. In India, another aspect I've like another example I could give is I've interacted with many investors and their families. A son may invest in something which his friend or maybe father has suggested, not maybe just digging into a fun fact sheet. I used this example earlier as well. So we are very culturally driven. We listen to what our parents say, we listen to the traditions, we listen to the societal norms of that particular place where we are staying, and then we take money decisions.
Wow, very beautiful. So continuing means leading to my next question. What are some of the most common psychological patterns or biases you see among Indian investors?
Among Indian investors, I particularly would like to point out a couple of them. One is, I would say, overconfidence bias. And I will not say that Indian, but it's everywhere. Biases are in some or the other proportion. In one of my studies in Morningstar, we found that biases, everybody from different cultures, from different occupational backgrounds, from different income stratas, from gender roles, proportions, etc. Everybody is falling prey to different sort of biases when it comes to financial decision making. So I will not say that we are biased and other global mates are not. But in India, what my observation is, we are more overconfident. And that's the reason we prefer, and specifically the Gen Zs and millennials, they do a lot of DIY. And oftenly they fall prey to kind of influencers, fake stock market influencership, etc., and not understanding the core of how you will be taking the decision or not seeking professional help is the outcome in a negative manner. Another, I would say, herding behavior, I touched upon it pehle bhi. So herding IPOs launch hote. I'll give you an example. When IPOs are coming in, and now and then IPOs are coming, whether you're traveling, whether you're in office, whether you are anywhere, you will heard from some or the other way, you will hear those conversation. Oh, ye IPO launch ho raha hai. Oh, tu invest kar raha hai ki nahi kar raha? Oh, let me do also. Because other people are talking about it, they are listening to their analysis and insights, and they're not digging into their own aspects or own research. And that system too is not getting activated. Very simple heuristic of copying somebody's behavior is coming into play. That's behavioral science. So that's one of the other bias. Another bias which I would like to pinpoint in Indian context is recency bias. Equities rally, we will just go to our advisors or we will just simply invest in equities. So that's another sort of bias. So these are and then there are many, but like we can't talk about all of them and give examples to it. But these are the top ones which come to my mind when I talk about or when I think my interactions or recall my interactions with investors specifically.
Beautiful. Now this is about the individuals. Let's talk about companies who wants to build up, what do you say, assets using psychology. How would you, what are the patterns or trends companies follow according to you in India and globally?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I believe when it comes to individual versus financial institution thinking about creating assets, how behavioral science impacted, I believe the mindset is different. So when I'm thinking as an individual, my biases, my mindset, and everything will come into play while taking a decision. A lot of factors, my family, my income, my sources of income, my emotional aspects will come into play. But when we are sitting in an organization like fund house, who is generating a lot of assets for their clients, or a family offices per se, when you talk about the bigger ones, or dealing with HNI, UHNI clients, and they are actually building a lot of assets for, like, basically multiplying money or multiplying assets for their clients. They have to be very, very cautious of the group biases, or I would say advisor biases per se. So we always talk about behavioral biases in the context of investors only. We say, okay, investor है, oh, confidence bias, recency bias, मैंने भी बोला इतने सारे biases हैं, but they always, the manifestation of a bias by an individual is very different from a manifestation of a same bias by a fund manager or by a family office who is taking care of the investors' money. So a lot of play at the group level comes to combat that. One of the nice examples I can give you, when I was in Morningstar and I was part of the managed portfolio team, there we had a culture of putting the analysts into a room where no phone, no noise is basically no, your phones are not in anyways in investment team, they're not allowed to use their phones. No noise, they're not low, there is no TV in the no screens, no TV, no news, what's going on is not there. The team of, say, for example, 10 people is sitting and deliberating very calmly about what are their angles, why they have selected a particular stock vis-a-vis another stock, what are the fundamentals, what are the ratings. So pure focus on the logic is given, and combating all the information which is there, which is basically, which can bias any analyst or any fund manager's head, was being done. Another example was that, for example, they had to change the portfolio. They have to change the structure of the portfolio. So if one of the analysts suggests, okay, I'm planning to add this stock versus this. So he is mindfully being called to debate in front of the entire team to basically tell why he wants that, and other part of the team members have to critically evaluate, asking maybe sometimes nonsense questions to them, that why you want this and why you do not want this, just to purely remove the bias from it and put the logic behind choosing a particular investment. And here I believe in a fund management like these, they have a broader lookout in terms of how I can multiply money for many. Here, the lookout for an individual, how I can multiply the money for myself. So there is a lot of difference in the manifestation of biases, in the approaches we take to combat certain biases, like in individual versus an organization.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's go to the next question. Sagneet, have built tools that measure investor biases, financial capability, and even credit worthiness. Can you walk us through the tools you're particularly proud of?
So I'm proud of many. As you said, I worked in credit risk behavior, risk tolerance, behavioral biases for sure. We did develop a tool to map investor biases itself. But I did a lot of work in behavioral analytics as well. And we did build models when I was in Morningstar. We did with a very simple and very beautiful, I would call it as a very simple and very beautiful model, analytical model we built. And that was basically what we did. We actually picked two data sets. One was the fund ratings. So Morningstar is very, very famous for the fund ratings it gives for different funds. And on the other hand, what was the Google Analytics attention coming to those funds, basically the search behavior. So we plugged these two matrix together, and then we created a very simple model of detecting the funds which were actually making fools. Basically, they were low at their fund ratings or basically fundamentals, but people were actually going and attending to it more. It was causing an attention bias, basically. So we highlighted those funds. that these funds are basically making you fools. On the other hand, we actually found a lot of funds where people are not paying attention to. They are not searching them, they are not investing in them, but the fundamentals are very, very strong as per the funds, as per the fund ratings. So we were able to detect the hidden gems and probably the ones who were making fools, and just we were signaling. So we called the product to be a signal. So we were signaling, or we were nudging the people towards appropriate or good investments and wanting them to be aware of the investments which were actually making them fool. They were paying attention, but eventually they were, maybe through herding, maybe through listening to someone else, maybe they were attending them more. Attention bias was more towards the investment which were having low, or which could in future have low potential to give you return. So that was one of the very simple model we did, and it was really beautiful, and I really feel proud about it.
Beautiful. So, Sagnit, how was your time at PGIM India shaped your current perspective on behavioral insights at scale?
It's interesting. So, I believe my association with PGIM India has actually broadened the scope and I would say applicability of my skill set and expertise. And to tell you that we are kind of the first AMC in the entire asset management industry in India who is having a dedicated wing or a vertical of behavioral finance and consumer insights, which is basically bringing, like putting theory into practice, both internally and externally. And at PGIM, what we do is basically we believe that there are three major stakeholders or three elements of the financial industry. One is your regulator, one is your advisor, and one is your investor. And all these three, they come with their own problem statements, or I would say needs, to be very precise. So a regulator would want that all the financial industry would act as fiduciary, and they should be bringing awareness, and they should be driving the informed decision making with investors. An advisor would want to understand their clients better and to serve them better, to have the acquisition, referrals, and retention of the clients. And investors, they want to be more aware about themselves, reduce their financial anxiety per se, and to be better off financially, achieving their financial goals. That's their problem. So each one of them is coming with their separate different problem statement. So at Pigeon, what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring out solutions where we are connecting these three dots together and their requirements together. So in a way, I think if you talk about broadening or scaling up, the applicability of what I have to think through, bring as solutions, and do each day, it has become more exciting, positively challenging, and really, I think it will impact the three broader angles of the industry.
So, Sagnit, in your opinion, how can organizations better integrate behavioral research into strategy and product design?
I think behavioral science in organizations, to be very, very honest, though I'm working in financial behavior or as a behavioral scientist in financial industry from quite a long time, I still feel behavioral science application is still in a very, very crude or nascent stage. I always suggest the organizations that it should be the behavioral scientist should be treated as a consultant at every single step, from discovery to solutioning to designing user-friendly solutions, etc., to at the end measuring impact. There should be one behavioral scientist, or they should be consulted with behavioral scientists at every single step from beginning till end. And it's very important for a behavioral, because I have been working in the product design from scratch, from like the first step to the last step itself, end to end. So I know that what is the importance of behavioral science at the very first step. And if you are not incorporating it at a very first step, what it can do when it reaches the last step. So it has to marry, the first step has to marry the last step. And for that, you have to have behavioral scientists working as consultants at the very first stage itself, not by, okay, you're done. Now it has to be launched into the market. Now behavioral scientists will work and talk about the communications. That is not the way it is. So I always suggest strategically, it should be part of the step one till step end, and then it should be part of the go-to-market strategies, marketing, communication, how you can better communicate your product. Not, I'm not, and when it comes to communication, I don't believe, I'm complete opposer of how you can basically manipulate the words and tell the person to buy the products. ऐसा नहीं करना है. Basically, how you can make things simple for your user to understand. Because if there is complexity, people will feel anxiety and people will run away from it. Simple. That's very simple as per my understanding. So how you can make things simple and understanding for them to relate to them and grasp it. That's the core of behavioral science, I believe.
Beautiful. So something is coming up in my mind to have a fireside chat with you and on two topics. One is financial wellness and mental wellness using psychology. So I've done with a couple of psychologists. Second is there is Ali Merchant from pharma marketing and Isha Sinha, who's into head content at Wibmo. Okay, how using because both prefers using apna psychology, consumer behaviors, and all those. So let's get three of you
Happy,
and
happy to contribute there as well.
yeah, thank you. Okay. Ah, so Sagneet, who has influenced you personally and professionally, and what were the key learnings?
Who has influenced me personally
And
and
professionally.
you're talking, you're wanting to ask me one person.
No, no, whatever it's your whatever you want to share, you can go ahead.
So in your life, I believe there are so many people. I think I have a flair of that's, I don't know whether it's good or bad, whether it's movies I watch, whether it's I would say meet a person, whether it's my family member. I try to figure out that what's the one learning I'm getting from it. So specifically, if I talk about movies, I'm a big fan of movies, Hollywood, Bollywood movies, where and don't ask me movie names, to be honest, I'm very bad at names as well. But I try the content which I watch within 15 minutes. So if I've clicked one movie and I've started watching it, so I first read the captions around it, try understanding, look at the trailers. And if I'm clicking and viewing it in first 15 minutes, I make up a decision. I make up in my mind that I would be getting something out of it or no. So it's learning ongoing. I can't pick any one person. I think it's a collaboration of everything who is around me in terms of audiovisual, my family, who has taught me a lot personally, professionally. I can't pick any single person to be honest, or any single thought to be honest. But yes, in a nutshell, what I believe personally, professionally, whether it's personally, professionally, there are no shortcuts in your life. There are no short, whether it's your personal relationships and you have to imbibe them, nurture them, maintain them, go with them, or it's your professional project or professional relationships. There are no shortcuts to success, or there are no shortcuts to like getting that thing.
Yes, very true, very true. Okay. How does a day look for Sagneet as a Senior Vice President Financial Behavior Scientist at PGIM India?
Okay, you want me to add the personal angle as well? So for me, start my day around like 6:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. I do my little bit chores of like getting my son ready, sending him to school, then quickly getting up ready and catch a Uber and reach here, where like 1.5 hour is something which I dedicate to myself. And a lot of work I do in terms of not the I try not doing the office work because I dedicate the office time for office work. But there I focus on a lot of like 1.5 hours in terms of reading something new, or I now recently I've started a channel on my Insta and LinkedIn where I post a lot of stories related to money. So as I started in the beginning, that money decisions or anything related to money is not about numbers. It's all about emotions, about your relationships, and how you think about money, how you feel about money. So I try to
Yes.
bring that flavor. So I keep on writing a lot, creating the stories, like storing it somewhere. So all my time goes there. And when I reach office, I generally like dedicate first 10 minutes in posting that story, recording and
Wow.
posting that story. And then my normal usual day, a lot of meetings, a lot of work, a lot of challenging tasks, a lot of brainstorming comes into the play, a lot of like deliverables, planning deliverables around it. That goes and around like towards the evening, I go back home. Again, 1.5 hour, 2 hour of travel where I do nothing. I just like unwind myself while the travel and prepare myself to be like landing into home after the exhaustive day and reach home. And evenings are, I think, I try, and we both, me and my partner, we try to be making it a lot more kind of into each other. We cook together. We don't ask the cook to make the last meal of the day. So she
Wow.
does a bit of preparation and we both do it together. We spend 1 hour together, me, my husband, my son. And the meals are very simple, not the lavish meals, but very simple, which we eat together with a light music or some movie around. That's the way. Just making everything peaceful towards the end so that you are mentally ready to be going into the hectic day again back together. That's my usual
Beautiful.
day.
Beautiful. Okay. So, Sagit, what's next for behavioral finance in India, and what role do you see yourself playing in it?
Okay, so I think to be very simple again, I believe behavioral finance will move towards, or it has already moved and will bring a lot more personalization and purpose-driven solutions. And I believe I will be contributing heavily into creating meaningful, human-focused, personalized solutions which are actually nudging people towards good financial behavior.
Wow. So, my last question, what advice would you give to young finance professionals who want to eh, enter this field but using psychology, being a behavioral scientist?
So, any day, I would say, just if you are a if you're a psychologist, or if you want to go into the applied behavioral science or applied financial behavioral science, I always say you have to have a very, very strict understanding, and I'm using the word strict understanding of your fundamentals. Your fundamentals should be very, very clear. And over a period of time with a lot of assignments, I have also learned, you will also learn how to navigate through your course of action, but your fundamentals should be very, very clear. Another aspect which I think we were not taught in schools, in our institutions where we studied, was the technical angle. Now the entire world is moving towards data analytics, and it's moving towards ML, this and that, and AI specifically. We, to be honest, in the colleges itself, we are running way behind in terms of imparting that education to the students. We talk about 10 different subjects related to psychology, but how we are applying that with the combination of data science is something which is not happening till date in universities. So I would suggest people to be upgrading themselves with the technical knowledge, with Python, with data analytics, and binding both the things together, because uh, you cannot survive in psychology or this kind of profession, especially in the corporate world, without data, without insight. So research and data analytics are one, like are husband and wife, I believe.
Wow, beautiful. So let's go to the next round and understand Sagneet as the person. Briefly, you have shared in bits and pieces. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
Oh, my formative years had been a little difficult. My mom was not keeping well for a good part of my growing years. She had cancer. She left us quite early, but I feel blessed to be born to my parents, and feel blessed to be married to my partner. Both my dad and my partner is very, very supportive in whatever I decide to do since beginning. So that's touch wood, touch wood. That's quite I would say challenging, exciting. A lot of memories, good, bad memories are associated with me. A lot of things which I have learned from every single episode which I've gone through. So, but I feel blessed to be where I am right now.
Wow, beautiful. So, Sagneet, are there any hobbies or creative outlets that bring you joy outside of work?
Always. A lot many things. I love watching movies. I love dancing, kind of freestyle dancing. I love to travel, kind of long road trips without like with light music, and maybe it's not going anywhere, but I love long drives. That gives me peace. I love water, so beach, sitting at the beach for the entire day. सुबह 9 बजे पहुंच गया और शाम को 6 बजे बाहर निकला is something which I cherish a lot. Just lying down there, just thinking, not talking to anybody, thinking about yourself deeply. I enjoy that a lot.
Wow. So, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
Personally and professionally, yeah, in 2025, there are a lot of stuff which we are doing internally in PGIM. My target is to accomplish those KRAs. Just we have made KRAs in the month of April, May itself. So those are locked. So just targeting to get that. And personally, yes, it's going on. It's flowing well. It should flow well. Focusing to have, as I believe in work-life balance. I want to continue that focus on my family as well. So a lot of time, good time, I'm hoping to have with my family as well in the coming, I would say, coming months.
Wow. So, Sagneet, if your friend had to describe you in 3 words, what would it be?
It's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult. My friends would describe me in 3 words. It's a rapid fire.
No, part of the rapid will come later.
Many friends describe me as complex. Many first timers describe me as arrogant. Many the ones who know me, actually they describe me as clear hearted. So not, but three different words in three different aspects, I would say.
Why not? Why not? Okay. So, this is Stree Shakti Series. What does Stree Shakti mean to you?
Be yourself.
Beautiful. So, my last one is a googly one. Describe Sagneet in one line.
Again, Sagneet in one line is very difficult for me. I think nobody can describe, or they should not describe themselves or define themselves, because human beings are undefinable, I believe. So I would say Sagneet is flowing happily and she is undefined.
Beautiful. So, let's go to the next round and put Sagneet in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Psychology or finance?
Both together.
Data or intuition?
Both together.
Structure or spontaneity?
Again, both together.
Teaching or researching?
Researching.
Journaling or meditating?
Journaling.
Homemade food or trying new cuisines?
We try new cuisines at home a
Wow.
lot. So we cook a lot and
Wow.
we
So I
try
like to,
a lot of things. So it's again both, but that's the way we do. It's more
I'm
homemade.
a, I'm a foodie, so I like to try new cuisines.
Welcome, most welcome to my place. I would love to host you.
Thank you. Okay. Your go-to comfort food?
My go-to comfort food, biryani.
Mm. Wow. Are you a morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning person.
Your favorite color?
Blue.
Best piece of advice received?
I think I touched upon this. There are no shortcuts, so don't try to do that. And I always fail doing even if I have to sometimes use the GPS and if any shortcut somehow or the other, if I take the shortcut, I'm gonna get stuck. That's my experience. So no shortcuts.
Okay. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Tea.
Let's raise. So you did well, and here's a gift which will be autographed and sent to you. So Prince, it was a lovely conversation, understanding psychology, behavior in investments, not only for individual, but also for corporates, fund houses. So this episode is for all the young finance professionals, fund houses, business owners, research analysts who are dealing with money. So there is emotions involved over there, and also for I say for psychologists out there because they are dealing with emotions. Watch the episodes; you will get a lot of insights as Sagneet has taken us through the journey of using psychology. So this can be implemented in your lives and also her journey where wants to she's a nature person, she loves music, and she loves cooking with her partner and for a son. So that's very beautiful. She's like a homely person and she's invited me, so I look forward to that, having home cooked food, which I look forward. So, like that, there are 450 coffee speakers sharing their inspiring journeys. Subscribe, implement in your lives, and if you want to be featured, like Sagneet, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn company page, and we look forward to our coffee conversations brewing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.